My wife Victoria said she had to work, so she couldn't attend our daughter's summer study trip and asked us not to go either. Seeing how disappointed my daughter was, I decided to take her myself. As soon as we entered the school, I saw Victoria and her first love Nathan sitting on the stage, looking very close, just like a family of three. Victoria held the microphone and spoke freely about how she achieved family happiness and career success. She and Nathan exchanged glances and smiled from time to time. The audience applauded enthusiastically, and Victoria's expression grew even more smug. Even the little boy beside her seemed very confident. Next came the question and answer session. I snatched the microphone and asked Victoria, "When did you have a son? Does your husband know?" As soon as I finished, the students and parents below began whispering among themselves, looking at me with strange and disdainful glances. Who is this guy? He's so rude. I think he's jealous of Victoria's husband and wants to catch her attention. Victoria's company is worth billions. It's no wonder some guys want to climb their way up by hook or by crook. How shameless when Victoria, sitting on the podium, saw me. A hint of tension flashed across her face, but she hid it well. On the other hand, Nathan beside her seemed uneasy. He pretended to be angry and said in a wrong tone, "Victoria, what does this mean?" I ignored him and looked at Victoria. "Victoria, you haven't answered my question." Victoria instinctively tucked her hair behind her ear and then held Nathan's hand tightly in front of everyone. That was her answer. Nathan's eyes were filled with emotion, and he pulled her closer without hesitation. The people around us gasped in astonishment. What kind of true love is this, to display such happiness in public? Victoria is such a perfect role model, not only successful in her career, but also so devoted to her husband and child. She's truly admirable. The looks they gave me grew even more disdainful. Misunderstandings in relationships can lead to backlash. How dare you compare yourself to Victoria's husband with such a weak image? Everyone knows Victoria's husband is important at Harrison Group and is her right-hand man. He's not someone you can compare yourself to. Just then, my phone vibrated. I received a message from Victoria. "Samuel, don't misunderstand. I agreed to let Nathan be Lucas's mom for a day. After all, he's never had a mother since he was a child. It's quite pitiful. Not only did you not listen to me, but you also humiliated me in front of everyone. Don't do this anymore." I couldn't help but sneer. Victoria has a strong personality, so I've always supported her career since we got married. I arranged for her to become the general manager and helped stabilize the situation behind the scenes. But it seems like she's lost her bearings now. The Harrison Group was founded by my grandfather, and I hold 75% of the shares. I quickly contacted the HR and legal departments on my phone. I must have her removed from her position as general manager in front of everyone today. My daughter Sophie saw someone insulting me and shouted angrily, "What are you talking about? The woman on stage is my mother. My father is her legal husband. That man is the mistress." Everyone burst into laughter, their tones growing increasingly sarcastic. It's true that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. The young ones are already thinking about climbing the social ladder. Their motives are impure. Victoria has been flaunting her love in public. How could their family of three be fake? Lucas walked down from the podium, furious, and approached Sophie with a frown. "Who did you call the mistress? You and your father are delusional. How dare you be so shameless?" After saying that, he was about to attack her, but I quickly stopped him and turned my gaze toward Victoria, who was standing nearby. "Victoria, I'm giving you one last chance. You have anything to explain?" Victoria frowned at me, then coldly replied, "Sir, I don't know you. I have manners, but that doesn't mean I'll ignore your constant slander against my husband and son. Our group's legal team isn't someone to mess with." Sophie turned red with anger, incredulously asking, "Mom, what are you talking about? Don't you even recognize me and Dad anymore?" Everyone around them burst into laughter. "Little girl, Don't get too into your act. Before Victoria loses her temper, take your father and leave. The Harrison group isn't something ordinary people can handle. Even Sophie's classmates began to express their dissatisfaction. Sophie, how could you be so repulsive? You always seemed so sensible, but who knew you were so despicable inside? Sophie urgently grabbed Victoria's sleeve and pleaded, "Mom, what's wrong with you? Why are you saying you don't recognize us? Please say something for me and Dad." Didn't you hear how they were insulting Dad? The voices were so loud. Victoria pushed her daughter's hand away forcefully, causing her to stumble back 2 steps. Her expression clearly hurt. At the same time, Nathan and Victoria held hands, clearly provoking me. I immediately realized that Nathan was well aware of the situation, so I quickly pulled my daughter back. "Sophie, since she doesn't acknowledge you, you don't need to acknowledge her either." After I said that, Victoria furrowed her brows slightly. A moment later, my phone vibrated again. "Samuel, I've told you before, I'm just temporarily filling in for Lucas as his mother for a day. How can you not understand? If I acknowledge your identity, how will you and Lucas face everyone else? Lucas's schooling will also be affected. If you hadn't caused all this trouble, this situation wouldn't have happened. The criticism you're receiving now is what you deserve. Take your daughter home and reflect on your actions." I couldn't help but laugh coldly. It seemed that after spending so much time in the position of general manager, he had forgotten who had given him that power. At that moment, the teacher in charge of the study trip rushed over to mediate and said the fun run was about to start. On the way to the stadium, I brushed past Nathan, who was wearing a smug smile. "You're just a freeloader. Wait until you get dumped. Only someone like me, who works hard for their career, deserves a successful entrepreneur like Victoria. If you know what's good for you, take your burden and leave." I smiled lightly. Career pursuer. Just now, HR sent me a message. Nathan was actually promoted because of Victoria's connections. He doesn't even understand the basic operations of the company. It seems like Nathan only knows I'm Victoria's husband. He has no idea I'm the one truly in control of Harrison. HR and legal have already prepared the termination letter and divorce agreement for me. They're on their way here now. I'm staying here to let everyone see the truth behind Victoria and Nathan's facade. Give me and my daughter justice. Victoria and Nathan were invited to the VIP viewing area. Both school leaders and parents were enthusiastically praising them. Victoria held her chin high, looking very proud, her face radiating arrogance. Meanwhile, Sophie was already on the track. She gave me a forced smile and I waved to encourage her. Before long, the situation suddenly changed. Lucas suddenly ran onto Sophie's track, stuck out his leg, and Sophie couldn't react in time, crashing hard to the ground. When I rushed over, my daughter was in so much pain her face was contorted. Cold sweat was pouring off her forehead and both her knees were badly injured. My heart was in knots. The troublemaker, however, looked smug. Lucas stood there laughing triumphantly, saying, "Let you father and daughter suffer a bit. Let's see if you dare to do this again." I was so angry I wanted to punch him, but Victoria stopped me. She stood between the father and son, adopting a protective stance, and said, "Enough. They're just kids playing. You're an adult. Why are you getting so worked up over this?" I was so angry my chest was heaving. "A joke. Look at the child. He's already been hurt badly. This was clearly intentional." Nathan smiled lightly, pulled out a stack of money from his wallet, and scattered it on Sophie, but his eyes were fixed on me. "You two are going through all this trouble just for money, aren't you? This is compensation. Take it and leave." The other parents were already laughing, watching me and my daughter with disdain as they observed Victoria and Nathan. Look at them. This is what happens when you offend someone powerful. You have to swallow your own broken teeth. This father and daughter provoked Victoria's family first. They brought this on themselves. Even if they broke their legs, they deserve it. Since Victoria's husband has already paid you, leave now. Sophie was looking at the school nurse, pleading with her eyes for help, but Victoria ignored her. Her eyes filled with despair, and she grabbed my hand. Dad, you were right. From today on, I have no mother. Hearing Sophie's words, Victoria furrowed her brows slightly before shooting me a resentful glance. I ignored her and instead turned my gaze toward those who had been cursing me and my daughter, sizing them up one by one. The Johnson family runs an aluminum alloy business, the Smith family runs a cement business, and the Brown family specializes in tofu products. When I mentioned each of these family names, they all froze, because what I said was the truth. The Harrison Group operates in a wide range of industries, and they all rely on the Harrison Group for their livelihoods. I declared firmly, from now on, the Harrison Group will no longer collaborate with any of you. They began to feel surprised, then burst into laughter, gathering around Victoria. Everyone, come and see, this man is truly mad. He just claimed to be Victoria's legitimate spouse. And now he's openly representing Harrison to terminate our partnership. This is absurd. What gives you the right? Victoria hasn't said a word, and you're just talking nonsense here. Does anyone have the phone number for the mental hospital? Call them quickly. Victoria's expression grew increasingly serious, and her complexion turned pale. She walked up to me and whispered, Samuel, I've already established my position at Harrison. You think you can cause any more trouble? Do you even have the right to speak? Go home now. I looked at her deeply but didn't respond. Instead, I turned to face those mocking me, including Nathan. There's been a misunderstanding. Yes, Victoria is the general manager of Harrison Group, but I'm the one who makes the decisions. Nathan was taken aback for a moment, then burst into laughter, tears streaming down his face. He was truly mad. I've worked at Harrison Group for so long, and I know my wife is the general manager. As for that guy, I've never even seen him before. He probably doesn't even know which direction the group's main gate faces. I smiled but said nothing, because my people were about to arrive. Nathan's position only allowed him to reach the 10th floor of the group's headquarters. How could he have seen me on the 35th floor? Though everyone was laughing, only Victoria's gaze was fixed on me, looking particularly hostile. I understood. She was actually afraid. Just then, my daughter's phone rang. She answered it and screamed in shock. The voice on the phone said, You're so young and not studying, following your good-for-nothing father to do bad things. You're so shameless. I quickly hung up and realized that today's incident had already been posted online. Some people were even fabricating lies and distorting the facts, even exposing my daughter's phone number and school information. I looked at Nathan, who was smirking with a challenging smile, as if to say, This is a gift for you. How do you like it? My daughter had already started trembling, with constant insults online and one call after another coming in. The parents who wanted to impress Victoria surrounded me and my daughter, their mouths filled with sharp accusations and malicious curses. Look, everyone's eyes are wide open. You two really shouldn't have done that, daring to impersonate a high-ranking official from the Harrison Group. Just wait for the trouble to come. The Harrison Group's legal department is very strict. If something goes wrong, you won't even have a place to cry because everything could be lost. Someone mocked, This is easy. This man looks like a pretty boy. He must be with some rich woman. You'll have something to cry about now. Just then, 2 black luxury SUVs sped up. Someone noticed quickly and shouted, That's the Harrison Group's logo. The boss is here. Those following behind looked particularly smug as they slowly approached me and my daughter. Their mouths opened and closed like venomous snakes. You two are finished. Victoria is no joke. She meant what she said. This is serious, we're done for. Some people raised their phones, staring at me and my daughter with strange gleams in their eyes. Everyone, the top trending deadbeat dad is causing trouble with the female CEO again. Hurry and follow along. I'm ready to live stream. Let's see how the big shot handles this ordinary guy. Nathan gazed at Victoria with deep affection, his face lit up with surprise. When he turned to me, his smugness and arrogance were unhidden. Lucas beside him also looked extremely arrogant. Victoria's face flashed a hint of surprise. Her gaze seemed to hide something. Her voice carried a touch of anger. "Did you call him here? Why did you have to make things so complicated?" I raised an eyebrow, my expression cold, about to speak. But Nathan beat me to it, lifting his head and addressing everyone. "Samuel, did you see that? That's Harrison's legal team. They've never lost a case. Today, you and your daughter not only spread rumors but also pretended to be company employees. You're so arrogant in the end you had to leave quietly." He added triumphantly, "These people were hired by me." I couldn't help but laugh out loud. HR and legal had already told me about this earlier. Victoria looked at Nathan in surprise, but Nathan deliberately winked at her, completely oblivious to the tension on Victoria's face. "Victoria, I know you've always wanted to have a proper talk with him. I've already arranged it for you." Victoria froze, almost about to speak, but then saw a group of people getting out of the business car and walking past me directly to Victoria and Nathan. They said very politely, "Victoria, we received a notice from Nathan's assistant to come here to handle someone who is damaging the company's reputation." Victoria breathed a sigh of relief and looked at me with a smug expression. It was those two. Give them a good lesson. The parents around us began to mock him. "He's just an ordinary guy. Didn't you say you were powerful at Harrison Group? Then speak up. Let's see if they listen to you. Just a moment ago you were so smug. Now you've been humiliated." "Ha ha." Mr. Liu walked over, his expression slightly disdainful but his tone firm. "Sir, you have damaged the reputation of the Harrison Group. The compensation must be at least $1 million. This is a legal notice." I smiled slightly and responded in a voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "From the moment you arrived here, you have already been fired. The group's chief legal advisor already told me to let you do as you pleased. Let these small-time characters who want to get close to Victoria and Nathan come forward. I'll deal with them all at once." He's completely lost his mind. The Harrison Group's legal team is already looking for him, and he's still pretending to be the chairman of the Harrison Group. What's the point of pretending? Did you hear that? The compensation is at least $1 million, and I doubt he's even prepared 10,000. Just wait for the police to come. Victoria walked up to me, her eyes filled with smugness and arrogance. "The legal notice has been sent, and the lawsuit is imminent. By then, pretending to be innocent won't help you. I don't want to bully anyone, but the company's reputation and my husband's name must not be tarnished. As long as you admit in front of everyone and the live cameras that today's incident was your fault and apologize to Nathan, I won't pursue it further." She whispered to me, "Samuel, this is my last chance for you. Don't take it for granted. Look around the group. Who else listens to you?" I responded bluntly, "Victoria, you're being too much. You know the truth very well." Some people began to get angry. "Victoria is so generous, but this man doesn't deserve it. We should bankrupt him. Who does he think he is, barking and biting like that? That's right, don't let him get away with it." Just then, a dozen or so stretch Lincolns pulled up one after another at the school gate, almost blocking half the street. Wow, what's going on? Am I dreaming? This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this in my life. The doors opened simultaneously, and one by one, people dressed in elegant suits and exuding confidence stepped out. The people who had been chasing me earlier were now stunned, their eyes wide with astonishment. That's Harrison's chief operating officer, who appeared on the financial news channel just a few days ago. That's Harrison's chief legal counsel, reportedly a Harvard graduate and a rising star who gained fame through a high-profile international lawsuit. I've seen this person at an international forum. He's a renowned talent management expert. Wow, today is truly a special day. I never expected to meet so many influential people. This must be Victoria's doing. She's here to support Mr. Nathan. Nathan heard this and was visibly shocked, his lips trembling. He said, "Victoria, you've gone to such lengths for me. I'm truly moved." I couldn't help but laugh, feeling a bit ironic inside. With Victoria's capabilities, she doesn't deserve to associate with these people. How could they possibly acknowledge her? Victoria stared intently at me, her hands unconsciously clenching into fists. Nathan, however, seemed completely oblivious to this. He excitedly pulled Victoria toward him, busy adjusting his collar. "Victoria, introduce me to them." Victoria was dragged by Nathan to the group of people. She forced a polite smile. "How did you all find the time to come here today?" The group completely ignored them, leaving Victoria and Nathan feeling awkward and embarrassed. The legal advisor walked straight up to me and said, "Chairman, everything you requested is here." The word chairman sounded like thunder, causing the parents and teachers around us to look confused. Who is the chairman? Did I hear that correctly? These big shots who only appear on TV are actually calling this madman chairman. Their expressions grew increasingly complex. How could this be? This must be a mistake. Nathan stared in astonishment at the usually arrogant adults treating me with such respect, his face stiffening. Victoria's gaze fixed on me, her temples throbbing. The lawyer who had been so arrogant in front of me moments ago now held the documents trembling in his hands, his voice shaking. "Boss, how did you get here?" My chief legal advisor glanced at him and said, "Don't call me boss. From today onward, you are no longer the legal counsel of Harrison Group." Liu, the lawyer, was on the verge of tears. "What did I do wrong?" "Oh, you actually sent the legal notice directly to the boss and still dare to say you didn't make a mistake." When Liu, the lawyer, looked at me, his face betrayed a hint of fear. At that moment, everyone seemed to finally understand. He really was the chairman of Harrison Group. Oh my God, how is this possible? After reviewing the documents I had just received, I looked around and nodded. My assistant immediately understood and quickly arranged for the major media outlets to set up their cameras. Soon, a large curtain was pulled aside, revealing the words Harrison Group Press Conference clearly displayed on it. At this point, some of the people who had previously criticized me were already sweating profusely and trying to slip away quietly. I instructed the security guards to surround them quickly. I smiled slightly. "Don't you like the commotion? This is just the beginning. Stay and watch before you leave." The small business owners I had singled out were completely stunned. They looked at each other, feeling panicked, and immediately knelt down before me, crying and begging for mercy. "Mr. Samuel, you are so kind-hearted. We were mistaken. Please spare us this time." I scanned them all, finally fixing my gaze on Victoria and Nathan. "No rush, one at a time." I held the microphone and faced the camera, saying, "Today, some news about Harrison Group has been trending on social media, and there are even some unfounded rumors. As the chairman of Harrison Group, I have specifically called this press conference to clarify the situation. First, some people online claimed that I intentionally caused trouble to seduce Victoria, and others even accused me of wanting to be a mistress. But in reality, Victoria was the one who cheated on Nathan and dragged me into this. At this point, I deliberately pulled out my marriage certificate with Victoria. When the red document was zoomed in by the camera, everyone was shocked. There was actually a marriage certificate. Goodness, I never expected someone would dare to bring their lover to an event and publicly display their affection. No wonder Samuel questioned it in public. We were all misled before. It's all because of Victoria and Nathan, that dishonest pair. Now, everyone's gaze toward Victoria is no longer one of admiration but deep disgust. The media even directly aimed their cameras at Victoria and Nathan, giving them close-ups. Nathan hurriedly covered his face with his hands and shouted, "Don't film me. You're invading my privacy." He wanted to hide and escape, but my security guards weren't pushovers. The press conference wasn't over yet. No one could leave. Victoria was even more furious. She stormed toward me enough. "Samuel, this is our family's business. Get these media out of here. Did you hear me?" She threatened in a sharp voice. "If you keep this up, I'll divorce you." I slowly looked at Victoria's angry expression and took the divorce agreement handed to me by the company's chief legal advisor. Then I threw it forcefully in front of Victoria and said clearly, "I'll grant your request from today onward. The Harrison family will expel you, the traitorous woman, from our home." Victoria's face showed shock. She slowly raised her hand to grab the divorce agreement, glanced at it, and shouted at me, "What? Leave with nothing? This is unbelievable." The chief legal expert beside me directly said, "If there are any objections, I can handle it in court at any time. However, so far, no one has ever won against me in court." I nodded in agreement, then picked up the microphone again. "The second matter. Today, I am publicly dismissing Victoria as general manager and Nathan as assistant to the CEO. Effective immediately, Harrison Group will no longer employ them." This live broadcast was simultaneously aired on large screens in many public areas where people gather. As I spoke, pedestrians throughout the city stopped to watch. The citywide broadcast of Victoria being ousted confirmed that Samuel is indeed the chairman of Harrison Group. He sure knows how to make a bold move. It looks pretty satisfying. She didn't take her job seriously before, relying on her husband to get where she is today. Now that she wants to go independent and faces setbacks, it's quite amusing. Next, Victoria lost control of her emotions and appeared on the large screen. "I've dedicated so much to this company. I refuse to accept this. Why can you fire me with just one word? I'm the general manager." I look cold and my tone is very firm. "I've said it before. Harrison Group is my decision. Anyone who doesn't listen has to go." The HR expert behind me quickly added, "Emtikes Victoria, during your time as Harrison Group's general manager, you favored your relatives and embezzled company funds. The evidence is clear. We're not only firing you but also pursuing legal action against you. As for Mr. Nathan, he doesn't have much ability. He only got his position because of Victoria's connections." The crowd buzzed with whispers and murmurs. "So the general manager got her position by marrying a wealthy man, and that special assistant climbed the ranks by being someone's mistress. How dare they claim to be successful business elites in front of everyone? Look at what these irresponsible people have done. It's utterly disgraceful." These words felt like one slap after another, landing heavily on Victoria and Nathan's faces. Victoria was furious, her eyes blazing with anger, while Nathan looked tense and pale. He hurriedly grabbed Victoria and said, "Victoria, think of something. What should we do? We've lost all face. How will Lucas and I ever show our faces in public now?" Victoria slapped him across the face, her anger boiling over. "If it weren't for you always showing off here, saying that child hasn't experienced maternal love and begging me to be Lucas's mother for a day, would this have happened? You have the nerve to ask me what to do." After saying that, Victoria angrily struck Nathan several times. Nathan screamed in pain, and Lucas immediately stood in front of her, strongly objecting, "Don't hit my father." In the end, Victoria was beaten badly by Nathan and his son, her face covered in bruises, and one arm fractured. But no one around stepped in to stop them, they just watched the spectacle. It was like a dog fight. Victoria was acting like a mother, but she didn't care if others approved or not. I hope they receive the punishment they deserve. They're not worth pitying. I coldly watched them fight fiercely. I raised the microphone once more. This isn't over yet. I have a third matter to address. I will hold accountable those who spread rumors and exposed me and my daughter today. My legal team has gathered all the evidence. The primary culprit is Nathan. The distorted videos he uploaded and the manipulative comments were all closely tied to him. Our legal team played back the evidence we collected piece by piece. There is ample evidence to support our claims. This guy is truly ruthless, using one underhanded tactic after another with no mercy. But unfortunately, he's met his match. He's finished now. Everyone knows how formidable Harrison's legal team is, especially with such clear evidence. He'll probably have to sell everything he owns to cover the damages. My goodness, this is so satisfying. The bad guy finally got what he deserved. He had it coming. Nathan is truly terrified now, his body trembling uncontrollably. He seems to realize he might face a huge compensation claim, stumbling over to me and begging, I'm sorry, Samuel, please spare me. I apologize, I'll compensate you." I looked down at him, furious, and pushed him away forcefully. "Get out of here. Don't dirty my shoes." I looked up, my gaze fixed on those who were insulting me and my daughter while wearing high heels. "Now it's your turn. Today, all of you who spoke ill of me and my daughter will not escape this." As soon as I finished speaking, they knelt before me in fear, pleading, "Please be merciful and spare our lives." I snorted coldly, "You won't forget how arrogant you were just now, accusing me and my daughter. We were blind and rude. Whatever you decide to do to us is fine as long as you spare our lives." After saying this, they fell to their knees and began banging their heads on the ground. In my eyes, this was simply because I had more power than them, and they were only compromising for their own interests. I signaled to my assistant, who immediately played the school surveillance video as instructed. The video quickly spread online. In the footage, they had their mouths wide open, looking like cowards. They seemed to neither hear nor see Sophie's explanations and pleas, instead focusing solely on flattering Victoria and Nathan. They spoke nothing but venomous words and vulgar insults, mercilessly attacking me and my daughter with their language. In my eyes, they truly did not deserve forgiveness. I grabbed a thick stack of contract termination documents and threw them ruthlessly at their feet. My voice was cold. "You remember what I said earlier. From now on, Harrison Group will no longer collaborate with you." They looked up at me, their mouths moving but unable to speak. Their eyes filled with helplessness and disappointment. The end of collaboration with Harrison Group meant that in this city, their business might collapse, and the industry would exclude them. When they tried to approach me to beg for mercy, the security guards had already firmly dragged them away. At that moment, the top 3 trending topics online were: Harrison Group Chairman Samuel expels a CAD from his home. Victoria was fired from her position as Harrison Group General Manager during a live stream. Nathan led a cyber attack and was counterattacked. The press conference ended. But the matter was far from resolved. Harrison Group's legal team would file lawsuits against Victoria, Nathan, and other whistleblowers, who would face legal consequences. A few days later, Victoria stopped my car on the road with my daughter. Her arm was in a cast, her hair had turned half white, and she looked utterly exhausted. "Husband, I know I was wrong. I've completely broken up with Nathan. Can you give me another chance? Let's get back together." I felt repulsed and pushed her hand away. "Don't come near me." She approached Sophie again, feigning helplessness. "Sophie, look at your mother now. Can you really bear to see this? Please talk to Dad for me." "We're still a family." Sophie stared at her coldly. "From that day on, I no longer had a mother. Leave." Victoria froze, her expression collapsing in an instant, appearing panicked and helpless. She called security and instructed them to notify her immediately if they saw this person near the villa again. Victoria was ruthlessly driven out, like a homeless person who had lost everything. Soon the trial began. Victoria was sentenced to several years in prison for her work-related mistakes, while Nathan was fined for spreading rumors online. Gossip spread in prison, and Victoria's behavior was looked down upon. She suffered secret torment inside and fell seriously ill shortly after arriving, reportedly looking very weak now. All of Nathan's assets were frozen, but it wasn't enough to cover the compensation, leaving him a debtor. His son had to drop out of school and could no longer attend the prestigious institution. After transferring to a regular school, Lucas faced constant rumors about the incident, causing him to become increasingly unstable. He began blaming his father for everything. He screamed uncontrollably, "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be like this. It's all because of your vanity. It's all your fault. Son, I did it for your own good." I always thought Victoria was a real entrepreneur who wanted to use our first love connection to get close to her. If we could have had a better future as father and son, how wealthy we would be. I never thought it would turn out like this. Don't use me as an excuse. You know what the other students say about me at school? They all call me the mistress's child, saying I'm like a stinking eel, and everyone looks at me with strange eyes. I tried to talk to them, but they avoided me like I was trash. Rushing away, Lucas's eyes were bloodshot. His face twisted in anger as he glared at his father, as if he were looking at an enemy. "It's all your fault. If you hadn't been the mistress, I wouldn't have ended up like this." Nathan listened to his son's heartbreaking words, tears streaming down his face. The next moment, a cold gleam flashed in his eyes. "It's all your fault. It's all your fault." Blood trickled down the knife handle, and Nathan felt utterly despairing. Finally, he shouted, "Lucas, when I heard this news, I was on a sunny vacation in the Maldives with my daughter. I had already told my daughter that I had no plans to marry again in this lifetime, but instead wanted to build our family business even larger and pass it on to her.